evening, the Carter family introduces you to one of their famous specialties. I know Sienna, our daughter, loves it very much. Sienna, this is for you. Grandma Lean, this is for you. We make a chicken piccata, which in some Italian restaurants are on the menu. So what happens is they'll provide veal, but an alternate to veal, the baby veal, is to use chicken breasts. And what Donald has already done for me is we've taken the full chicken breast and sliced it horizontally so that it's flatter, and he's actually pounded it a little bit for us too. You can buy boneless, skinless chicken breasts, the whole thing, and slice it as we've done, or you can buy already filleted sometimes in the grocery store. So it can be a real easy piece of chicken to find. The thing to remember about chicken is you want to handle it as little as possible because it has contaminants that you can't see them. You just want to make sure you're always washing your hands and you're always washing the surfaces that the chicken has touched. Okay, so what I'm going to do, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to salt and pepper and flour them because we need just a little bit of flour, not a lot, in the pan. I'm going to go ahead and warm up our pans. We have a large frying pan. You can use iron, which, as you all know, I love. This is a ironclad, all-clad. It's a good one. I prefer the iron, but I like these slopes. You notice how these sides on this pan slopes a little bit more than our iron pans? Makes it a little bit easier for you to get in and turn things. So if you're using a spatula or you're using tongs, it's kind of nice to be able to get in there and turn them. So we'll probably use both of these pans, but we'll start with this one. I'm going to turn it to medium-low, just to start getting the pan warmed up. And I use a mixture of olive oil and butter. I don't know if we covered that last time, but I tend to try to avoid butter when cooking. It burns easily. And I like the higher heats and the gentler heat of an olive oil. So I like to mix them. You get the flavor of the butter, but you can bring your heat up a little bit higher. Chicken breasts don't like to sear. They like to cook like a saute, so you're not searing the meat like you would a piece of steak. You're putting it onto a hot pan. Again, you're going to want to feel for the heat, but not too hot, like a medium. You want it to sizzle. You want to just get a slight brown from the flour, but you don't want to sear real hot. They'll curl. So a little olive oil. Now Mr. Carter has my butter out there for me. Close. I wonder if Bob can fix that. So here's my olive oil with my butter. And the butter is already starting to bubble just a little bit, so I'm going to get working over here. Get my flour ready. A little flour, some salt, pepper. Turn up a little bit. You could salt these first if you wanted to, but this is fine. So we just quick dusting. A little shake. These are nice and thin. Donald did a good job. So I'm going to sprinkle a little bit more salt on these guys. I can put enough in my flour batter. I'm going to take these over to our hot pan. Let's look at the pan, see if it's ready. I want it a little bit higher than that. The bubbles they happened, but they're not still happening, so I need it a little bit higher. And I kind of feel for it. What they tell you is how long you can keep your hand there before it feels hot. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's not hot enough. I think I'll start my other pan because we got a lot of chicken here. Carter's like leftovers. So as long as we're making you guys this lovely video, we're going to have extras so that 2 nights. You don't have leftovers the second night. The Carter rule is you have to have something different the next night. But if you want, you can have the leftovers on the second night. There was something else I remembered to tell you. Oh, I know. I salt the flour a little bit, but not too much because we're using a little bit of a chicken broth in the sauce. and the chicken broth is salted. If you're not using chicken broth, if you're only using vermouth or white wine, you might find to taste a little bit more salt on your chicken. Now this is getting hot, so I'm going to start these guys. They're going to sizzle. Hopefully now if you get close enough you can kind of hear them sizzle. Just getting a little bit more of a brown than I want, so I'll turn that down. There's my sizzle. Okay. Looks like we'll just get 2 in there. Can you see those? Cooking any faster than that, they'll burn. You really just are using the flour to cook them, brown them up a bit. A little bit of butter with it. And I need a plate for those. Because once we saute them just a bit, kind of brown them up, it's kind of sweet, we take them out and then we keep them warm. I'll show you how to do that until they're all sauteed, and then we take our butter and we start to make our sauce. And another reason why you don't want your butter too high, you don't want too much more browning than that, you don't want burnt butter because this is going to be your sauce. See how nice and tender those look? These are really sweet. And that thickness is very important. If it's too thick, they won't be as gentle. That's nice. See, they're just a little bit brown, but they're not crusted brown. It's just kind of a little bit firm there. Very nice. Good. Here's my mixture again of olive oil with some butter. And I got another fillet here. This one's a little bit fatter because of the way I cut it, so it might need a little bit more heat. A little bit more cooking. Right. Okay. I think it's the sound more than anything. You know what else you can do? We did this with the pork chop. You can take your flat spatula and just kind of push them down a little bit. So you can see they'll curl. And that really is just the meat shrinking when it cooks. So the problem is, okay, I'm going to keep that still cooking while I put some more olive oil in there because we got another batch. Normally, you'd cook just, these are really big. You could do 2 chicken breasts cut in half, makes you 4 halves. And they're usually a little smaller than this. You could do one recipe pretty easily. This is a hefty portions here. I wish this can work. Flat. Mine, doing mine. You want to shake off the flour. You want a little flour, of course, but you don't want too much. It just burns. Let's see how this one's doing. You can start to see it cooking along these exterior edges. You can even see it's turning a little bit white over pink about halfway up, which probably means that one's about done. I do know this guy's a little hefty on this side, so he needs a little bit more time there. Yeah, that's looking really nice there. This is my hot water, so we have fresh noodles. Go really nicely with the sauce. You can also use rice. Keep it very simple. You can gussy it up. We're going to temp this with some foil. You don't need heavy duty for this job.